Welcome back to Bottoncino Bicycles. My name is Alex. In today's video, we are trying to answer the question, how cool can we make a ladies' bike from the 70s? We are reusing a bunch of the original components. There'll be a lot of polishing, add new components where we need to, and turn this ladies' bike into what we call a city coaster. So follow me outside and I'll show you what we're working with. Let's get started. I really enjoy working on these old ladies' bikes. The transformations that you can achieve are just remarkable. This one in particular is a bit of an interesting one. It has a frame that is combined of steel and aluminum. It's equipped, as they mostly are, with the coolest sounding coaster hub of all time, the Sachs Torpedo. So the silver tubes that you see that connect the individual lugs, those are all aluminum. And let's not forget, this frame is from the 70s, so this really blows my mind. So let's take it apart, get it all cleaned up before we put it all back together. And because we don't want life to be more difficult than it needs to be, I apply oil to all the threads that we try to loosen. The mudguards are already being held on by zip ties. They're in pretty bad shape, quite rusty. The attachments have broken off, so we're gonna remove those all together. This is a customer build and it's a customer's bike as well. And we discussed this all when she brought the bike in. And in its new life, this is going to be more of a weekend cruiser for good weather, so those mudguards aren't actually needed. The bike wouldn't shift anymore, and as you can see, the little chain is also somewhat bent. So I'm just trying to find out if it's the actual hub that isn't working or if it's just a setup problem. And as it turned out, it was just a setup, so nothing that can't be fixed. This bolt here was completely rusted on, but as it turned out, once I removed the washer, the mudguards actually came off already. This right here is where the old spoke lock would have sat, but all that is left is the screw, so no need to keep that either. Looks like this needs replacing. What you see there behind the crank is sort of an attachment dish for the chain guard, and since that isn't there anymore, we don't need that dish either. but in order to get to it, you need to remove the crank and also the bottom bracket. And after some soaking, I was able to remove this bolt. My cleaning process always starts with a generous amount of oil. I actually talked about my cleaning process a little bit more in depth in last week's video, so if you haven't seen that, you might want to check it out. And we have one broken spoke that needs replacing. And just like last week, no shiny results without my little friend, the grill cleaning sponge. There's a few stickers on the frame, or their remainders, and if you're being careful enough, you can use the sponge in here as well. And as we've learned, this is bare aluminum, so no problem to use it here. There was still some rust on the hub here that our friend, the grill cleaning sponge, couldn't remove. So I tried to get rid of it with a brass brush, and it got rid of some, but yeah, I just wasn't able to remove all of it. But we're not attempting to get this back to showroom condition anyway. We're working on a time budget, and I think some patina is always acceptable. I'm still absolutely amazed by this frame. If you think about it, it's half a century old and it's using aluminum tubing, and it's not like this is a cutting-edge, high-end road bike frame of back in those days. It's a ladies' bike, but I guess it was a cutting-edge, high-end ladies' bike of the time. This little attachment point for the spoke lock is quite rusty, so time to bring in the rust converter. There is some nice engraving on the stem, which is also an indicator that this probably wasn't a budget model back in the days. Again, I like to use a brass brush for some of those harder to reach areas before going over everything with the polish. This brake cable put up a bit of a fight. It was quite lodged in there, but nothing that some brute force can't fix. I know I'm repeating myself, but these are some pretty lightweight aluminum cranks. Again, pretty uncommon on ladies' bikes at the time. They usually all had steel cranks. So if someone watching has any knowledge about this brand, please leave a comment. I'd love to learn more about it. The pedals that were on here weren't spinning that well anymore, and they were also modern pedals, so we decided to put new ones on here that are a little bit more time and style appropriate. I always find it very satisfying how well these old components polish up. For the cables, I thought it might be nice to match the frame quote-unquote colors. So we're going for a pearl gray brake cable and black shifter cable. My go-to tire on city coaster builds is the Schwalbe Road Cruiser. It looks good, rolls nice, and has a good weight to puncture resistance ratio. Before screwing that shifting chain back in, just need to make sure that this is all filled up with grease. And it helps to lay the tire down flat. The customer chose to add a basket to the build, and so we chose the Bricklanebikes Chrome Basket. along with any other new parts that we use on this build. You can find them all in our parts shop on the website. Just scan the QR code and it'll take you there. Or check out the parts list in the video description. These baskets are a little bit tricky to align, but slightly inclined, I guess backwards, is just what we're looking for. The old saddle was coming apart, so I chose this one from our vintage parts inventory. Kind of like it with the silver rivets that it has, so I think that's a good match with the frame. By the way, if you're interested in your own city coaster custom build, you can head on over to our Instagram and check out the build to order story highlight and review all the frames that are in stock, and just send us a message and we can talk build options. And if you just enjoy watching bike building videos on YouTube, why not leave a like and subscribe? You won't believe it, but it's completely free. But for now, let's look at what we built today.